Hello everyone, it's Monique Lynelle once again, and we're on Book Talk 9, Chapter 8 of Blessed in the Midst of the Storm. Okay, so welcome. This is the last chapter of this book, and let me tell you, if you have not bought the book yet, tisk. You should have did that, boo. Alrighty. It ain't nothing but a thing. And some of y'all out there balling out of control, okay? So you can afford to get a little book, throw it my way. You know what I'm saying? Help your life. How about that? Alright, so it's called Turn the Negative into Positive by learning from the past, looking forward to God's promises. I'll say it again. Turn the negative into positive by learning from the past, looking forward to God's promises. I'm going to say it one more time. Okay? Turn the negative into positive by learning from the past, looking forward to God's promises. Okay. Let's dive in. Okay, so this is the last chapter. And I just need you to get there to read it yourself. I'll probably, most likely I'll share some of the scriptures. Not all of them. Because I still want you to read it. I write out most of the scriptures in the book. I write them out so that you can just read them right there. But you can always go Bible Gateway. I'll put that link with the video. But Bible Gateway is a good way to be able to get straight to the Bible online. And then you can put in whatever scripture it is, the address, and then it'll send you to the scripture because it has the whole Bible there. Also, it has audio Bible. Look, if you're like one of those people like, yo, I'm always driving and it's hard for me to have time to like read the Bible, like sit down and read it. Like if you have a half-hour drive, you can listen to the Bible. You can literally start going through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, like in your car. Like you can turn it on, and it's really good because they do the narration, so it's not boring, you know. And some of the Old Testament is hard to get through with a lot of those names. A lot of the Hebrew names are hard for us, you know, Americans, you know, to pronounce correctly and all of that. So they're doing that in the dramatization. I listened to the one that's the NIV version, which is the New International Version. That's just a nugget of point. So I'll put that link down there so you can look up different scriptures. But I don't want to give you everything. But just about turning the negative into positive. What I've tried to do with this book is take the circumstances that I had that were negative and try to do something positive. And the thing is that I'm hoping that you get some encouragement and some empowerment from my book. I've shared a lot of the bad in some of the book talks because I want you to understand that it's not all good. It's really some horrific and bad things that I've had to go through. So now I want to share some of the positive things. Although there have been positive things throughout the book, there definitely are. You see the good and the bad that happen during the same times. But right now I'm just going to share some things with you. When I deployed in 2008 to Korea, I was in my last class in my associate's program, and I started my associates after I got a divorce, and then I stopped, joined back the military, and then I went back to school. So I wanted to get my associate's degree, and I was on my last class, and we had to deploy. So we deployed in October, and I finished in December. So sometimes when people were like, yeah, we going out to party, girl, you know, you want to come? I had to say, no, I'm on my last class. Like I had to tell myself, like, no, be disciplined and finish this class. Because if you don't, who's going to do it for you? So I was able to finish December 8th 2008, I finished my associate's degree from Central Texas College. The day after we got off the plane, I went to get my internet and set everything up. And I was in South Korea. And I was like, I'm doing the rest of this class. I'm going to finish. And I did. And that was the same month my dad passed away. But see, I was telling you about the different things that happened that were already hard and bad. But see, something good happened too. What also happened is I came back to the States because I was pregnant in April. And that's when I had my baby. And she was born and then she passed away. And I was able to walk in the graduation in May because I came back to the States. I wouldn't have been able to be a part of it if I didn't come back to the States because they weren't having one in South Korea. So it was like I was able to be a part of something that I wouldn't have been able to be a part of otherwise, because our deployment was for a whole year. I came back mid-deployment because of my pregnancy. So that was a positive thing. I finished and I was able to walk across the stage, and although I didn't have my parents there because they were still in Maryland and my child had passed, you know, I was able to even speak to somebody. Like, she was crying in the bathroom about somebody that couldn't be there. And I was like, look, I don't have any of my family here. I'm just happy to be walking. I'm happy that I finished. I'm thankful that I finished because it was something that I started, something that I wanted to do, and I put my mind to it, and I was able to do it, and it was a positive result. It was something positive in my life. I wouldn't have given, I wouldn't have given up my child. If I could change it, I would. And I would have her in my arms walking across that stage for sure. Like, if I could have, I would change that and make that be, you know, the ultimate, you know, thing that happened for me. But at the same time, I was grateful and I was thankful that I was able to at least celebrate myself and go ahead and celebrate an accomplishment. That was an accomplishment. It was an accomplishment for me. So then in 2011, I started a program in 2010 while I was still going to Temple University, because once I got out the military in 2009, I started to go to Temple University. And so I was still going there. And in 2010, I decided to go to an instructor's program at Empire Beauty School. This was all in Philadelphia. So for those of you who don't know, like, I did cosmetology. I was licensed back in 2000. I was licensed in Washington, D.C., and in Maryland, and in Pennsylvania. And so in Pennsylvania, they have a master educator's license that you can receive. And that's the next level in cosmetology where you can actually teach. So in 2010, I started that program while I was simultaneously going to Temple full time as a student. So I went to both schools and I worked my butt off to try to get to both classes, and neither one of them were online. So by them not being online, I had to drive across the city to get here, to get there, to both campuses. And, you know, there was a lot going on. And then my mother got sick right at the end, and I was in my internship time for the cosmetology instructors, but I was able to finish. But I would be on the road. Like, when other people weren't there with my mom, I tried to be there. And so if they were there, if she had visitors, if she had my sister, or if she had somebody else there, you know, my grandmom or her sisters, or, you know, friends of the family or something like that, then I was like, okay. Because I was going to both schools, and I was like, I was so close to finishing, I didn't want to miss, you know, but sometimes I would be late because I was running from 95. I would go there on a weekend or something, and then I'll come back and I'm going straight to school, you know, sometimes it was just really hard. I would have my luggage in the back, and I would just be trying to get a parking space, and people didn't know what was going on. So I had to start sharing it with some of my instructors once it got towards the end. So my mom ended up passing the day after Mother's Day, and I still had finals at Temple, but I had already finished my cosmetology program in February of that year, and that's when I found out my mom had stage 4 cancer. So I ended up finishing my Master Educators in Cosmetology in 2011, and I still went on to finish my my bachelor's program in 2012, and I graduated with my bachelor's in communications. I ended up changing my major because it was psychology when I first started to go to Temple, and I changed it a couple times in between that. When I was going through so much, it was just really hard to deal with all the terms and all the memory stuff because I had dealt with so much traumatic stuff. And so it looks like I'm losing some light right now. It's starting to get dark outside, and the light's coming in from the window. But anyway, at the end of the day, I was able to go on and get my master's done. In 2014, I started doctoral classes in 2018. I've done, got some education. Now I have, 3 books. I did music. I had 3 music projects. Some of the hurt, the pain, I turned it into something positive, and I tried to do things that would keep me busy, but were also using my talents that God gave me. So I just tried to flip the script. Like, okay, this hurt me, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. And that's one of my mottos. Some people say failure is not an option, but I think sometimes some people say failure is not an option, right? But I say quitting is not an option, because if you're really going to be successful, sometimes you fail at something first, and just because you fall or just because something happens that's bad to you doesn't mean that you have to give up. And if you ever watched a boxing match, you understand that somebody can get knocked down, but that doesn't mean they're knocked out. And they can get back up and knock the other person out if they have what it takes. And sometimes that's what you have to do. So I'm like, life has given me a gut punch. Life has knocked me down, but I took my standing 8, and now I'm coming back. And it's like, that's how I looked at each situation. I'm like, I'm going to finish this book because I started it and I want to finish. I said, okay, I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to do music, and I'm going to do. So now I have a finished documentary. I finished writing my script, and I started filming. I had a talk show that aired on DCTV, the Monique Lynelle show, and I started interviewing other people, and I still have some more shows of that I sort of put while I was on hiatus. I just put them in lieu, and it's just a lot of things that I have been able to accomplish, and I'm going to finish my film series, and hopefully I'll be able to put that out, and people will be able to enjoy that also. And the thing is that I just want people to be encouraged that you can turn negative situations into positive situations too. And just because things might start off and they seem ugly or not great doesn't mean that has to be the end of your story. So to every testimony, there's been a test. And my destiny is to be successful, to be a blessed person. And those things don't come without some trials and tribulations. But I didn't have to welcome somebody being hurt in my life or something bad happening to me for me to get these good things. I had to endure. I had to persevere. I had to go through a deliverance. I had to trust God. I had to have faith that God would bring me through these situations. I cried many a night. I was hurt many a times. I felt alone many a times. But I didn't give up on myself. And that's what this book is about. That's what being blessed in the midst of the storm is about. It's about taking a licking and still ticking. It's about allowing the good things to not be overshadowed by everything that is bad. There are bad things that happen to good people, and it's not always that you're doing something wrong. Sometimes the Lord is testing your faith, and sometimes He's allowing things to happen to you so to grow your character. Sometimes He's allowing things to happen to you so that your character will be built. And then you can sit there and talk to other people and tell them how to overcome. So now I sit here and I'm okay. It's still stuff that happens in my life and all kind of bad things. But I'm believing God for a double portion in my life. And, even this year, I didn't plan it this way, but I went from a 2-bedroom to a 4-bedroom house. And although I was renting there and I wanted to see this neighborhood, it's double and it's getting me ready for what's next, what's next in my life. And so, I have to have room enough. There's a scripture that talks about, God can do things exceedingly and abundantly over anything that we can ask or think. I just want every blessing that the Lord has for me. And what God has for me is for me. So you have to go after what God has for you. Everybody has a story. Everybody has things that they have gone through. And thank God for the things you haven't had to go through. Some of the stuff that I've gone through, I wouldn't wish it on anybody else. So don't envy me. Don't envy anybody else for having their story. Don't envy somebody else for being themselves. Don't be jealous. Don't be covetous. The thing is, when you're that way, you're not seeking what God has for you. You're seeking what God has for them. You need to get what God has for you. So that requires you to ignite your own faith in the Lord and watch Him work. Because He's big enough to do it. He didn't make us all look the same for a reason. He didn't make us all have the same talents for a reason. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to be working on some projects, and hopefully you'll be able to see those. And I also have something in mind for a new book that hopefully will help encourage you, empower you, and lead you to dig deep and have joy. So that's not the name of it. I have the name already. I have the points already. But I need you to get blessed in the midst of the storm first. So while I'm working on this other one, by the time you see this, it might be done. You never know. So I'll be putting, the videos out. So this is the last one for this book. But stay tuned and look out for me. Hopefully there'll be more music. I have something in mind already that I wrote. And I just have to decide what beat is going to go with it or how I'm going to do it. But yeah, look for that. New music, me finishing my my film project, some other interviews with other people, and if you want to do some one-on-ones, or if you want to talk about getting through some things, I'm considering spiritual life coaching. So, or life coaching, and trying to help some other people get over their humps. I'm an overcomer. So I can help other people overcome. And there's steps to overcoming. And I'm not perfect, but I'm in this world for a reason, and I definitely have a purpose. I'll probably post some of these on my blog. I haven't done it in a long time. It's Monique Lynelle's Living with a Purpose. So I had it out back in like 2016, 2017, and 2018. And so, yeah, I'm probably going to start it back up, and I'll be putting the book talk on there and maybe some updates in the future. So I hope everyone has a blessed day, and I hope you've enjoyed the book talk with Monique Lynelle, and maybe I'll see you around. Okay, 10-4, over and out.